If you never talk about your offer, well, then what are we doing this for, right? So I feel like there's a balance in the DM strategy, right?
The way I think about DMs, first, redefine success, because qualified yes is also good and a fast no is also good. Second, you write down your non-negotiables. If they don't match that, you don't pitch. 3 is you make an intro and you prospect for an hour a day. 4 is you find a way to the problem, then you find the truth behind the problem. After you find the truth, that's when you go for the call.
What is up, action takers? Welcome back to After Hours Entrepreneur with me, your guide, your host, your main man, Mark Savant. And you are in for a treat today if you're looking to turn social media into clients, into hot leads, leads that bring you cash money. Because today we're joined by J.K. Molina. And J.K. is an absolute expert, specifically at Twitter, when it comes to prospecting, DMing, and getting hot leads in your calendar. I'm more personally focused on LinkedIn, but the tactics that we're going to go over today, I could guarantee you, these are the types of tactics that convert. If you're trying to leave your day job and get to 6 figures, these tactics and strategies will work. So sit down, relax, listen up, maybe take some notes. J.K. Molina is about to give you the business, baby. We're about to get you some leads and cash through Twitter. Really, really good stuff throughout the entire episode. Everything from positioning to marketing to your direct message strategy. We're even going to talk to you about scraping, which if you haven't heard about scraping before, no, it's not when you hurt yourself skateboarding. Scraping is a way of finding the ideal leads to message. So we're going to get right into that. Quick shout out to our sponsors, JK and Mark Savant Media, the best place to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast. Go to marksavantmedia.com. All right, enough of me. Let's get into this episode with J.K. Molina. Let's make you some money. Run the tape. Before we get started, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsor, Riverside.fm, the best place to record your remote interviews. All right, DJ, run the tape. Yo, J.K., what up?
What up? What up? After like 17 minutes of figuring out microphones, we're finally here.
We are here, baby. 5 minutes in and ready to talk about Twitter, which I got to be honest, when I think about lead generation, I'm always thinking about other platforms. I'm never really thinking about Twitter. But when I see the advice that JK is bringing to the table, I said, we got to get JK on the show. We got to talk about it because this stuff is really good. So let me start out here and just ask you, JK, how did you get started in building leads on Twitter? How'd you get started?
Yeah, so I started a Twitter account maybe in 2020, just trying to grow. And I thought that like if I grew a big account and then I launched a product, then I would make money. And I made some money, and then the next one was like less, and then the next one was like less. So I figured out that if I was like to get a consistent income, I couldn't just go with the low ticket route, right? So I started seeing, okay, what are some good stuffs I could do? One of them was high ticket. And then I realized like there's a lot of people with money on Twitter. So instead of focusing on audience building, audience building got me like a big following, I focused on audience monetization, which to me, like you're going to have a big bank account or a big account, a big bank account's cooler, you know? So that's why I started focusing on lead gen and just going hard at it, man. Learn inbound, learn outbound, learn just talking to people, which is one of the threads we're going to get into in a bit of just how to make money on Twitter.
That's it, baby. Bang. That is it. And I love the way that you have your Twitter profile bio set up here. He says here, it's at one JK Molina. And he says, if you want to grow your Twitter audience, I'm not your guy. If you want to monetize your Twitter audience, welcome. Yeah, I think that's an interesting dynamic, especially for podcasters and media producers. We're always looking for how can we get more followers? How can we get more influence? But really at the end of the day, paying the bills is probably the key of an entrepreneur, right?
Yeah, that's what you want. And like that bio sounds like salty a little bit. It is kind of a little bit of positioning because like it does. Yeah. It's like a dick. Because a lot of my competition, they just kind of want to grow. They're kind of the writer guru. They're like the improve your digital presence. And I really wanted to go hard on differentiating myself from them, right? And just going hard on audience monetization because, and I kind of experienced that. It was kind of a pain I had. Like I got to 70,000 followers, right? And then I got on a call with this accountant. He's an accountant, dude. Like an accountant is like the most boring business in the world. And we get on a call. I have 70,000 followers. He has 900 followers. And I asked him, how much are you making? And the guy's like, oh, I'm making 30K. I made 30K last month with 900 followers. And then I made 30K with 70,000, right? Following the just grow advice, they just build a digital brand advice. So it's not that it's wrong to build a personal brand. I feel like people focus on the wrong things to build a personal brand, which is why I went like so against, don't just grow the business, right? And the brand comes with it. But yeah, so that's kind of the story behind it. I wanted to position myself as in, like, I'm not the guy that's just going to help you grow because I know that that's not what you want. What you really want is cash.
Right. Well, that's a good point. Well, you had a Twitter post the other day, JK, something along the lines of 1,000 followers. Well, once I get to 10,000, then I'll make money. And then once you get to 10,000, well, once I get to 100,000, then I'll make money. Once you get 100,000, once you get to 500K, then I'll make money. But why not make money today if it's possible? And again, one of the reasons I'm really glad to talk to you, JK, is a big part, it looks like, of your strategy is in properly executing direct messaging campaigns.
Yeah.
And this is really exciting to me. I'm actually putting on a session here with my pro group. I lead a pro group, and we're going to be talking about lead generation specifically on LinkedIn. But you're seeing massive success on Twitter. So let me ask you this, JK, before we start to get in the nuts and bolts of your tactics, why would I choose Twitter as my direct messaging platform? Why is Twitter a better platform for lead gen than other platforms like LinkedIn, like Instagram, like Facebook? Why Twitter?
Yeah. I'm not big on other platforms, so I cannot attest to why it's better, but I can attest as to why it's good, just right off the bat. But the reason why I feel like it's good, it's because people are more direct and real. So it's like people feel this connection and trust. And it sounds woo-woo, but in reality, what you really need to get a sale is trust. The more people trust you, like the easier it is to close a sale, right? Like even if your offer is great, let's say some homeless who came to you in the street is like, hey, I'll give you $1 million, Mark, but you got to give me $10,000. It's a great offer, but you don't trust the guy, right? So you would doubt. So what I like to do with Twitter is just build this huge trust and I like the way Matthew Kovac phrases it. LinkedIn is the networking conference. Twitter is the bar after the networking conference where you actually network. And that's kind of how I look at it because it's really tight. They have this community because the trust is so high and the network effects are so high because let's say you like my tweet, like all the followers you have will see that you like my tweet or at least a percentage of it. And then they can like it and it'll go to that. And this network effect will go wide. For example, in Instagram, if you like my post, then it kind of dies there. Like, that's it. You liked it. Nobody gets a notification. Nobody sees that you liked it. Whereas on Twitter, it spreads around. And it's just the community, man. Like, it's hard to explain. You ever been obviously, you have your group, you got your pro group, and it's like, why would people join? Like, what's so cool about it? It's like hard to describe, but it's just a community. It's knowing that people show up every day. It's knowing that we're all trying to make money, get to the common goal. That's what's cool. And the last reason I'll give, it's because it allows me to test quick. So if I want to write an Instagram post or post something on Instagram, it'll take me like 15 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe days if you wanted to do a really cool video. YouTube takes a lot. LinkedIn takes a little bit longer than Twitter. Twitter takes 20 seconds. My best tweet was while I was doing a leg set at the gym, right? I was just tweeting at it. And it was one of my best tweets ever in terms of performance. And it allows you to test these ideas fast. And when you see all these tweets that took you 20 seconds to write, what you can do is you can filter and see which ones are the best. The ones that are the best, then you can repurpose them or use them as marketing content. So Twitter, in a nutshell, it's really good at building trust, building connections, network effects, and it allows you to test things quick. So that when you put more effort into longer form content, you can use it with an already validated idea.
And I will say, out of all the platforms when it comes to sharing, I think retweeting is perhaps one of the most effective forms of that technology or idea. I gotta ask you, JK. So you built up this framework, you're building up this business. All of a sudden, Elon comes in and buys Twitter. Were you like, oh crap, the whole model is ruined? What was your thoughts when Elon went in and ended up purchasing the company?
I get into controversial things when I talk about that, but honestly, I don't think Elon's running the show. I think it's like part of a bigger scheme and lie that they're gonna tell us. So I wasn't really concerned. I don't think it's gonna be a big issue, right? Besides, when Elon took over, like a few weeks ago, we sold Tweet Hunter, and if you saw what Elon did with tweets before, you could see where a tweet came from. It was like Twitter for iPhone, Twitter for Android, Tweet Hunter Pro, whatever. Now you can't. So that kind of hurt the brand a little bit, in my opinion, or maybe could have hurt the reach because people can't see where it's from. So it didn't affect me really, and I don't think it'll affect people too much. People overestimate it. So I think that if you just keep playing the game, like stay away from controversial topics, you'll be fine. I mean, if you use Twitter to make money and not as a journal, like a lot of people do, you're in a very good position.
That's a fair point. And yeah, people are still very much on Twitter. So listen, I definitely want to talk about your selling of Tweet Hunter at some point, but really what I want to do right now, I'm hungry for it. I'm ready for it. I know the audience is ready for it. I want to learn how I can turn Twitter into cash. I want to make some money, and I want to start here. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for everybody watching on the tubes. For everybody listening in, that's okay. We're going to walk you through it. We're going to hold your hand. So JK has a tweet here from January 5th. And basically what he says here is too many threads here, too many threads on how to grow your Twitter, not enough threads on how to monetize your Twitter. So here's 14 technical Twitter tips that have made me and the people I work with millions. Pretty compelling. I like your use of copyright too. Numbers, specificity.
Dude, I appreciate it. And also, shout out Mark Savant. We have been talking for what, like 10 minutes now? But I feel like he's my friend forever. You're so good at this thing, man.
Thanks, dude. Hey, we're just having fun here, baby.
You understand show business, man. You get it. Awesome. I'm ready to get into this.
I appreciate that. Listen, we're just having fun here on the After Hours Entrepreneur, baby. We're just having fun. All right, cool. So, okay, first, all of these ideas are sick, by the way. I'm going to put a link below to this thread. But the first one here, why don't you read us the first one, JK, and walk us through this first tip on how to generate leads on Twitter.
Yeah. So you wanna get leads, right? And if you go through each of the follower counts, it's gonna be hard because there's too many followers on Twitter. However, there's a hack you can do. So if you find someone who your ideal customer follows, I like to come up with 100, right? So I find who's my ideal customer, come up with a list of 100 tweets. And then you scrape your followers. You use a tool like Phantom Buster, and then you open in Excel, right? Then you're gonna have all the followers with their bio and their ads and their link, right? So what you do now is you Control F to find keywords in bio, because there's certain keywords that qualified people have on their bio. For example, if you're a SaaS founder, you probably have MRR, ARR, product, multiple, growth, exit, building in public, all these words. And if you're smart about it, you can Control F and only filter those people with those keywords in their bio. And then you DM the people that SIM qualified. So what you did right there is you figured out from the fishes you want to catch, where are them and which ocean are they in, right? After that, you find by, okay, what scales do they have? What color do they have? What do they say? You find by, like, you look at the most likely fish that could, bite. And then you DM them. And this is honestly such a cool tactic. And below I shared a few words that you can use. Like if you're an executive, those people probably have CEO, CMO, CFO, CSO, operation partner, all these things. If you are a founder, you probably have SMB, M&A, partner, build, big, B2B, SaaS. E-com store, probably have Shopify. DM, chief, scale, owner. Investor, you probably have CEO, partner, portfolio, chief, director, board, VP. That's a great one, by the way, VP. Or exit or invested in. Those are great because like if you have invested in your bio, there's a high likelihood you're somebody, and they probably has money that can pay you. So I just included a few of the keywords there.
I do want to just slow for just a minute here, JK, because you went through this really, really quickly. There's a couple things I just want to key in on that are the important part of this tactic, right? Which the first of which is quote unquote scraping their followers. So you find a big account, I don't know, Alex Hormozy, for example. Who's following Alex Hormozy? You need to scrape their followers. Can you explain just a little bit more detail what that means to scrape the followers?
Yeah. So what you do is you go to any tool, maybe called, I use Phantom Buster. And what Phantom Buster allows you to do is, hey, which account would you like to scrape your followers for? And you say Alex Hormozy. And if you give it a bit, it'll give you like an Excel sheet of all the Alex Hormozy followers. Now, if your ideal customer follows Alex Hormozy, you already know. Like, you want to get to 6 figures? Your path to 6 figures is in this list. You're like 1,000 DMs away from getting to that point, right? So that should give you like hope. And then after you have those, you're going to have an Excel full of these people and their bios and their profile. And that's when you Control F, like Control Find, and you look for keywords. You come up with lists of people who are qualified and you DM every single one of them until eventually somebody says yes.
Boom. Super, super simple. Laying out the framework here, Mr. JK Molina. What's up, After Hours Entrepreneur? Mark here with an important message for you. You do not want to look bad and sound bad online. You don't want it, I don't want it, and your fans most certainly don't want it. I need to tell you from personal experience that the best way to improve the quality of your content is with Riverside.fm. Riverside.fm is my go-to for recording the highest quality podcast and video content from anywhere. So why use Riverside? Well, Riverside is going to give you the highest quality 4K video recordings. You're also going to get uncompressed, crispy, clean audio. Honestly, the best that I've seen. You're going to get separate tracks recorded when you're interviewing people and collaborating, which makes it very easy to change your audio levels. In fact, Riverside is even going to give you a video editor and social media clip creator directly within the program. Listen, it's time to avoid looking bad and start looking amazing. And the best way to do that is with Riverside.fm. Start free today and use code FRIENDSOFMARK for a special offer. Again, get started with Riverside.fm. Use code FRIENDSOFMARK and start looking and sounding like your best self today. All right, let's get back into the episode. So I want to kind of take this to the next level, to the next tweet, which just kind of brings us to the next level. Okay, I found people to DM. Now what? What do I do? Now that I'm going to DM people, I do want to just encourage you, make sure you hit up tweetsandclients.com. That's tweetsandclients.com, where JK is going to really put all these tactics together for you. That's tweetsandclients.com. So JK, let's move on to the second tweet here, which I think is great. It's your personal tweeting schedule. So why don't you explain to us what your idea here is as far as personal tweeting schedule?
Yeah, so this operates from the assumption that you want to get leads and business from Twitter and you don't want to just go viral, right? Because if you just wanted to go viral, just write a thread a day. That's all you need. But if you want lead gen, here's what happens. You're going to have these people that you're going to DM. And we can get into DM conversation flows later. But when you DM somebody, they're just not going to respond. They're going to check your profile out. So what we need to do is we need to set our profile so that it's optimized for the people who are coming in, and our content should be on brand. Because if it's not on brand, then imagine you have a tweet or a thread that's about, 10 Elon Musk book recommendations you must read before you die. Like, how is that related to you? So we need to relate it to you. So my personal tweeting schedule is, for me, I tweet at least 5 times a day. Proof of competence once a day. And proof of competence is essentially showing that you're good at what you do. It's a testimonial, a case study, a transformation pick, an A to B, a dashboard screenshot, something that doesn't say you're good, something that proves you're good. Because given two equal options, people would rather buy from the guy that knows the most. So we need to prove our competence every day. Threads or auto DMs, and a thread is basically a tweet after a tweet. An auto DM is essentially, it's an automation. You can do it on Tweet Hunter, in which if you engage with a tweet, the software automatically sends the people who engage with the tweet a certain DM, right? So how people use it is, hey, I had this resource. Wasn't this really cool podcast with Mark Savant? You want the link? Like this, and I'll send it to you. So they like it, and it auto DMs it. I do those twice a week. I email 5 times a week, sometimes 7 times a week, because I get excited. And the most important one of them all, really, and you could just not do the rest and still make money, is prospecting and pipeline management for 1 hour a day. Prospecting is what we did above, finding people to talk to, talking to people, getting rid of unqualified leads, following up with previous leads. Those you do that 1 hour a day, and you'll be fine. Actually, on my coaching program, I make people do that. I tell them, okay, if you don't put it on the calendar, you're not going to do it. So share your screen, go to your calendar, put an hour every day that you're going to do this, and they do it. And, that helps them commit to actually doing it, and then they make money.
A proven tactic, by the way, was reading Atomic Habits by James Clear last year, great book. And he made the point that, listen, if you write down what you're going to do, when you're going to do it, and where you're going to do it, the chance of you accomplishing it just magnifies tremendously. So
yeah, it's great. It's also like, if you want to tie it back to that, James Clear gave me the idea on the book, combined with this book called Upstream by Dan Heath. Upstream is about solving problems before they happen, because it's easier to not pollute a river upstream than to clean a polluted river downstream, right? So in the beginning, it's just right on the onboarding. Like, we make them do it on the onboarding so that later on you won't have that problem. We just wanted to make that point.
Good point. Well, it's easy, I think, for the boring stuff, quote unquote, the boring stuff to fall off, right? Like recording, podcasting, chatting with people, like that's the fun stuff. Going through spreadsheets for an hour a day is not necessarily fun and sexy. It's not leg day in the gym.
Yeah, well, leg day isn't fun or sexy either, man. Like, just being honest with you. However, you know what's sexy? Strength and cash.
Yes.
So we do it.
That's right. And I think that's one of the reasons why working with people like JK and working with softwares as well is a big difference maker. I want to skip through here because we only have a few minutes. Again, the whole thread I have linked below, but there was another one on here that I really, really liked. Another tip for making money on Twitter. So JK, number 5 here, I love. It's okay. We've done our prospecting. We've done that fun, sexy leg day work. We've got leads. Well, now what? Now we need to start our DM campaign strategy. Why don't you break down what not to do and then what to do when we're building out our DM strategy for Twitter?
So you want to talk about DM or auto DM?
Let's talk the auto DM. Let's talk about the auto DM. Yeah.
Yeah. So also should be noted, Mark's the first person in history to call leg day fun. So there you go. You can at least Guinness World Record that one. But let's get to it. So essentially the tweet says, I never send an auto DM without asking for emails and numbers. So what people do is, hey, I have this resource on an auto DM, right? Like this tweet and I'll send it to you. And then they send it. And that's kind of how it ends. The way I look at that is you have a sea of potential customers that said, hey, I'm interested in this. So I never just give out the resource. What I do and what I recommend people do, actually, because this is like, I don't know why Elon hasn't blocked this. Like, to me, this is just broken. But I ask them, hey, I have this resource, like this tweet, and I'll send it to you. And then they'll get a message, right? On that message, I don't give them the resource straight away. I make them leave their email for the resource, right? And then on that, I tell them, hey, by the way, do you want this other complimentary resource? If you give us your number, we'll text it to you, right? So people leave their number. We have their number now. Now, what does that tell you? It's a prospect that follows me, kind of knows what I do, and is interested in this. So we have a setter. Setter calls the guys. Hey, I saw you wanted this resource. What are you interested in? Oh, cool. What are your Twitter goals? And he sets them up for a call with the closer, right? So from one tweet, we already got an email opt-in, a phone number, a triage call, and a setter call, and potentially a close, right? So I feel like every auto DM shouldn't just be the auto DM. It should be many things that allow you to sell on many different points of the process.
Yeah, like it will in each point during the process, during the sales funnel, as it were, you're building a little bit more trust because every time they click yes and go down, more likely to buy, more likely for that offer. So when you say it's an auto DM tweet, is this you create a tweet, you post it, and then someone hits you with a DM, or are you setting up a DM program to auto DM?
It's the second one. Yeah. It's the second one. So when you go on Tweet Hunter, for example, you can write, hey, I have this resource, it's a PDF, comment and I'll send it to you. That's what the tweet says. But if you click a button below, it says, send an auto DM to everybody who likes this tweet. And that's where you put in your message.
Boom.
And it'll do it automatically for you. And you touched on a few DM conversations. I'm glad to go over DM conversation flow because I do think it's key, but whatever you want.
Yeah, no, I want to talk about that too. And it's, it's something I think a lot about right now. I'm, full disclosure, I'm leveraging a LinkedIn DM tool right now. And most of the conversations I get into people are like, nice. They're kind of like casual, but how can I turn more of those into sales calls? How can I turn that auto DM on LinkedIn, on Twitter specifically, into a sales call? I like that. How do we get it? How do we make that happen? How do we get them to book, brother?
I love that question. I've been thinking about that question for months now, Drew. But let's talk about the process I have today, right? So I recently onboarded a VA. She's helping me do this, like DM people from my account. And it's cool to see how the same process applies, whether you're using it on email or Twitter, and can probably use for LinkedIn or other social media. Because classroom changed, but human psychology doesn't. So here's how I look at it. The first thing we need to do when it comes to DMs is we need to redefine success. What is success in DMs? People feel like success is just getting a qualified yes. I would actually call success another way. Success is also getting a fast no, because a qualified yes allows you to make money. A fast no frees up time for you to make more money. So don't be afraid to say no or to get told no. They actually save you time. So when my VA comes to me and says, hey, I didn't get this guy on a call, right? Because he wasn't qualified, he didn't meet the expectations. To me, that's a win, right? So let's redefine that. We don't need to get everybody on a call, okay? Second step is we define our non-negotiables. So for me, it's you gotta make this amount of money a month. You gotta be this kind of person. You gotta pass the vibe check. That's huge. You don't wanna work with annoying prospects. And you just gotta be willing to engage in a conversation. Right? So for me, those are non-negotiables. If anybody doesn't fit that criteria, you don't pitch, because a good client is worth 5 clients. A bad client will set you back 50 clients. So you need to do it right, So you find those non-negotiables. Third is you prospect for an hour a day, like we did with the keywords in bio, or by looking over your followers, your likes, your comments, your retweets, and the people who follow you. Those are people who already know you. So those are good to make an intro, which is the fourth step. You send them a message. Now, this message could be many things. For me, what I want is just to get a response, okay? So, for example, if I'm messaging you, Mark, it's, yo, listen to your podcast the other day. Super cool, right? Nice and easy. You want to appear non-threatening. You just want to get a response. Or if you have a testimonial from somebody in their same niche, I send that too. Like, hey, dude, I saw you do, email marketing. I had an email marketer in my program. He made 50K. Thought it would be relevant to discuss possibilities together. Let me know, right? That's just the intro. That's how you talk, right? Now,
I like the being direct, by the way, because it helps you to qualify that fast no too. I mean, I think there's a balance there though, right? If you're too direct, if you go through the throat too quickly, then they just get turned off. But if you never talk about your offer, well, then what are we doing this for, right? So I feel like there's a balance in the DM strategy, right?
Yeah, and you kind of get better at it. Like it goes with your brand. Like for you, like just talking to you right now, I can feel like you're very direct. So that would work incredibly for you, right? I'm also direct. There's a few people who are maybe, and I've seen everything, man. There's people who like are breakup coaches, quit porn coaches. So you can't be as direct. You gotta like tone it back a little bit. But yeah, dude, those people, they exist. They exist and they make bang. So yeah, money's everywhere. But anyway, you send the intro message. That's just to get a response or to get some interest. Then you try to find the pain or the problem, right? And you ask it by asking like, hey, are you in this situation or that situation? Are you taking on more clients or are you at max capacity? What's your goal with Twitter? What do you want to like? You figure out ways to make them see where they want to be. Now, what happens here often is that people will tell you the problem, but they won't tell you the truth behind the problem. And it's not because they're liars or dishonest. They won't tell you the truth because sometimes they just really don't know what's going on. Like, for example, people will tell you, I don't have time to go to the gym. Whereas in reality is you haven't taken the time to set it up in your calendar when and which days are you going to go to the gym. Sometimes people might tell you, I'm just figuring my offer out. When in reality, the problem is, dude, I've tried 17 different offers and nothing's hitting because I suck at lead gen, right? So the problem is sometimes not what they tell you. It's actually, most of the time, it's not what they tell you. So after you find the problem, you need to find the truth, right? So I'll give you an example. The other day, somebody was super open when I sent him a DM. He said, hey man, we're looking to scale on Twitter, super eager to do this. We're just looking for the right partner. What are the next steps, right? And previous me would have just gone to, hey, he wants to grow on Twitter. Great, let's send him a link. But now I want to find the truth behind it. So a good question to ask in that situation is, great, what does the right partner mean to you? Right? Oh, great, what do you want to do on Twitter? Who's playing the Twitter game like you want to play it? And you find the truth behind it. And then we discovered that the guy didn't care about growth at all. The guy didn't care about scale at all. He just wanted one client a month because he was like up to the brim of clients. And we wouldn't have known that because we need to find the truth after we find the problem. Now, after you find the truth, it's actually pretty simple. You just go for the call. Hey, next week I'm available this time to discuss a solution to the truth. And it's important that you mirror their language back at them, right? You don't want to say, we're here to solve the problem, right? You want to say, hey, let's talk about how we can get you one new client a month. You're not there to talk about, I don't know, how to craft your offer. You're talking about, hey, you said you suck at lead gen. This can be fixed. Let's set up a call next week to talk about it, right? And it's easy to go for the call or the close when you already know the truth. So we need to know the truth before that. And that's kind of the way I think about DMs. First, redefine success because qualified yes is also good and a fast no is also good. Second, you write down your non-negotiables. If they don't match that, you don't pitch. 3 is you make an intro and you prospect for an hour a day. 4 is you find a way to the problem, then you find the truth behind the problem. After you find the truth, that's when you go for the call. And people know this, right? This is not new advice. You already know you need to talk to people. You already know you need to send DMs. Like the hard part is actually doing it. So step number 7 is actually nothing works if you don't. So I make everybody go on their calendar, put in which hour of the day you're actually going to do this. And you will be amazed at how much of a difference it makes when you put it on your calendar and you actually go through with it. So that's the steps, really.
Boom.
Boom. There you go.
Boom.
Clip
JK
that.
just dropped it. Clip that. I like that. Dude, that was really, really, really good. Everything from the getting the fast no to your non-negotiables. Alex Hormozy had this post the other day. I was talking about this with someone just yesterday at coffee where he said, solve rich people problems. They pay better. And I was like, yeah, it's a good point. Especially if you know that the solution that you offer is a higher ticket offer. If you have a $5,000 solution per month, you can't be trying to sell to people that don't have a profitable business in place, right? You need to, make sure that you're targeting the right type of people there. Love that. And of course, JK just broke down exactly how to do that 10 minutes ago through scraping followers.
You want to talk about how to find people who can pay you? I think that's interesting.
I think that's very, very interesting. I love that point about the problem, figuring out the problem too, but that's that I think takes some practice, because to your point, I think 99% of people don't really understand what their exact problem is. So if you can get good at that, diagnosing, I think that's big, and listening back. But let's talk about that. Let's talk about how to find the rich people, because the rich people pay better.
Yeah.
Show me the money, JK. Where is it?
Oh, dude, I love this topic because, the other day I saw a tweet that kind of hurt. Somebody said, because my saying is like saying cash, right? That's like my mantra. And then somebody said, a wise man said once, like saying cash. And then somebody commented, yeah, that guy has 170,000 followers. I'm like, oh, motherfucker, you got me, right? Because I needed to find a way for it to work for people with lower followings. So I've been obsessing about how to do this. But I think I found a cool way, so which is what I'm going to share, right? So you start with skills and you figure out, what am I good at? Not for whom, but what. So the question I'm asking and the answer I'm looking for is not really, I'm good at leading for dentists, I'm good at coach training for founders. Like, no, what are you good at? Just the skills. And then the way I ask this question matters. It's from the people you've seen on your social media that could benefit from this skill, who can pay you the most? From the people you've seen on Twitter that can benefit from this skill, who can pay you the most? And when you really think hard about that question, answers start to pop out. And I'll give you an example. This guy named Tyler, right? So he's in Tweets and Clients, and what he used to do was he was really good. His skill was really good at exploiting credit card points. Like if you wanted to travel or whatever, he could really use those points to your advantage. And his previous positioning was he was helping people get out of debt with credit card points. Now, if you run the numbers, those people cannot pay that much money, because they are in debt, right? So what I told them was, who on Twitter that you've seen who can benefit from the skill can pay you the most? And we realized that there's media buyers that's spending 5 figures a day on Facebook ads, on TikTok ads. So what if you go to them and you show them how to leverage those points into using it for more ad spend, for better things? So his positioning went from, I help you get out of debt with credit card points, to I make the rich richer with credit card point strategies, right? See how we shifted that? So when you shift your positioning, it's probably not that your skill is wrong. Maybe your traffic isn't wrong. Maybe it's the place you're standing that's wrong. For example, let's say you owned 500 feet of land, right? If you own 500 feet of land in a desert, that's worth nothing, right? Because it's a desert. However, if you own 500 feet of land in Panama, in the Panama Canal, you would be making $4 billion a year. Same skill set, same offer, same traffic. However, where you stand matters, where you position yourself matters, which is how I went from, let me grow your audience because there's a lot of beginners there, to you already have an audience. Let's monetize it. And when I shifted that positioning, a lot changed for me, a lot changed for Tyler. And I know of a lot of people who also got that change, because sometimes it's not our offer that's wrong. It's not our traffic that's wrong. It's the people we're pitching to that's wrong. So find a better market, and that's like an immediate way to make more money.
Could not agree more. I think, in some cases there's multiple reasons why we maybe have the wrong offer, or we have the right offer for the wrong audience. But one of the things, at least for me, is really helped in, I think, scaling my business of podcast production, consulting, and coaching, has been building out frameworks. And you've shared quite a few frameworks today, JK, from, how to find leads on Twitter, how to direct message them, how to set up all these different frameworks, right? And, to me, one of the ways that you can scale up both your, the cost of your product and service, but also scale up how many people you can serve, is by leveraging these frameworks. And so I do kind of want to shift. You might notice I'm kind of setting up for a shift here, JK, because you recently sold your company tweethunter.io, right? Which, huge congrats, by the way, SaaS project, boom. I want to hear about that, because I think, the dream of consultants, coaches, entrepreneurs is, how do I really scale this up so I can serve not just one-on-one, but I can serve, tens of thousands with a course, or with a SaaS product or with a service. So kind of walk me through like how your experience in building out frameworks helped you to build out and scale Tweet Hunter to the point where it could be sold.
Yeah. So I can't mention anything about Tweet Hunter without mentioning Thibault and Thomas. Thibault and Thomas were instrumental, huge part of it. And I actually wasn't involved in much of the sale. They took a lot of care of that. And in the product, they also took a lot of care of that. I could speak to the positioning and the marketing. And like the fun thing about it is I told them, guys, before we sell it, I don't want to know what programming language this is written in. I don't want to know. I want to be able to say I sold the software company and I don't know what programming language is written in. And I still don't know. So I told them that. But I could talk about the framework.
It's a chat GPT. It's just a giant AI chat bot that wrote the whole code, I think, right?
Yeah, probably. It's going to be like that at some point in our lifetimes. But for this one, these guys were just instrumental. When it comes to the marketing, I can speak to that. And then we differentiated that. So when it comes to product, software, I'm not your guy. But if you want to talk marketing, let's talk marketing. So when it came to that, we realized that we weren't entering a blue ocean. Like there's a lot of schedulers. There's a lot of, there's Slapple, there's Buffer, there's Hootsuite. There's a lot of things. So we figured out, we were like smart enough to know that we needed to differentiate ourselves somehow, right? Just scheduler and slapping a name on it was not going to work. We needed to differentiate ourselves. So what we did was we figured it out. In hindsight, it was the right move. In foresight, we didn't really know what we were doing. But we realized, okay, what is something that on the scheduler market, people are not attacking? And if you saw the competition, there's a lot of grow your digital presence, grow your personal brand, be bigger on social, serve more people. There was a lot of what I call personally weak speak, not being direct. Like when people go and say, hey, I'm just here to create an impact. I'm just here to add value. Like, no, dude, you're here to make money. Like, let's just be honest about it, right? So I saw a lot of weak speak on the scheduler things, and I thought, what if you were direct about it? And we position ourselves as not a tweet scheduler, but as a Twitter tool that will make you money. This is for people who want to make money on Twitter. And our promise was, try it free for 7 days, try it for a month. And if it doesn't make you money, then you don't pay, right? Or you cancel your trial, then you don't pay, right? So we're big on that. And in the beginning, Thibault and Thomas come more of the branding and slower, like more longer term marketing world. I come from the direct response, aggressive marketing world. So in the beginning, we just settled on the direct response aggressive one, and we went hard on it. So now if you check tweethunter.io, the landing page says, grow and monetize your Twitter audience fast. Like it's just like go fast and make money. So for me, when you talk about frameworks and I see what are people doing, I don't try to up their claims. I don't try to create a better offer. I try to create a different offer, right? And the framework I have for that is I grab a piece of paper and I split it in two. And then I figure out in half, I write false beliefs. On the other half, I write missing pieces, okay? And I analyze the solutions in my market. And I realized the reasons why people follow people in this market is because they want a certain outcome and they haven't got it, right? So then I realized, what are some false beliefs that keep people from achieving this outcome? And what are some missing pieces in their judgment that prevent them from reaching this outcome? And I write them down, right? Some false beliefs, you believe that a big following will make you money. Not true. Some false beliefs, you don't need to do it in lead gen. Not true. Some missing pieces, you don't have someone who can craft your positioning for you, right? Some missing pieces, you don't have a scheduler that allows you to like bulk schedule everything and then you can focus on building your business, right? And after I crafted the false belief missing pieces, I find the one that feels the most natural to me. And that becomes my positioning. And just like that, I'm already like a step ahead of the competition because I'm never thinking about better. Like we don't make tweets better than Buffer. We don't make tweets better than Hootsuite, but we certainly make it different because we don't allow you to schedule a single tweet before you read both the growth guide and the monetization guide. You can't do shit on Tweet Hunter until you read those guides. And that's intentional because we want you to know that this is not a growth tool. This is a make money tool. So use it as such, right? So that's kind of how I think about it. And to me, positioning was huge. And when you figure out the positioning right, everything else kind of comes after that.
Well, I like how you're very consistent, JK, within your businesses and trying to solve problems upstream, right? By saying, hey, you're not doing anything until you've at least completed A and B. You're not moving on to step C. The other thing that I think is interesting about this positioning conversation, JK, is looking at the competition. And the reason I think this is important is because, and the reason I think it's interesting is because when I'm working with younger entrepreneurs, I often hear people say things like, nobody is doing this. Nobody has invented this yet. And to me, that's a cause to pause. I generally like to look for proven models, businesses that are already making money. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I just want to find something that's already working. But what you're doing here, but you don't just want to copy Hootsuite. You don't just want to copy HubSpot or something like that. What you want to do is find what makes you different, what makes you unique. And I love that idea about looking at the missing pieces and the false beliefs.
Yeah, dude, I love that thing because you can play so much around it. Like with fitness, there's this girl named Ali, and she's all about like fuck diets. I make you lose weight with no diets. She doesn't promise a bigger result than other fitness coaches, but it's the positioning that's different. And then there's my coach. He's an engineer. He works with data. So he's not about false beliefs. He's about missing pieces. He says, the thing between you and your dream body is just numbers. So my approach is numbers based. And I like that. I fuck with that. So I hired him. And when you realize that you don't need to make your claims better, you just need to offer a different path to get attention. Like suddenly a lot of pain is relieved from you. A lot of like weight is relieved from your shoulders. And you realize you don't need to be better. You need to be different because people will get more excited by different.
Well, and I think when you find that magic sauce, you squeeze it. You just,
dude. Yeah.
That we kind of started our conversation off. Like you had kind of like your bio has like a little tongue in cheek. Like if you want to grow your audience, get out of here. I'm not for you. You can go follow these other guys. If you want to make money through your audience fast, you're in the right place. And I see you've kind of like found that sweet spot and you've interjected that into every piece of what you're doing.
Yeah. You can't. Do you see the thing at work there? It's a false belief. It's that audience growth equals audience monetization, likes equals cash. That's a false belief, right? So I went against it, and that was my positioning. That's kind of how the thing worked behind it.
Yeah, great. Very good way to finding interesting tweets too. What are stuff that everyone believes is true that's not true? I'm going to post about that. That kind of ruffles some feathers, gets some controversy going, gets some conversation happening too,
Yeah. And somebody said the other day, JK, I feel like every single one of your tweets says like save cash in a different way. And when I saw it, I was like, he gets it. That's what it's supposed to do. I never think about content creation. I think about content filtration. You take what other people's viral tweets are doing or other good viral ideas, and you don't copy them. You filter them through your positioning, and then you come up with something completely new. Like 10 routines that Michael Jordan did to get good at basketball, right? Whatever, like that's a basketball routine. And then you filter it through yours. 10 routines that'll help you monetize your Twitter audience better than everybody else, right? I don't believe in content creation. I believe in content filtration. And that's just, to me, extremely more practical, fast, and useful.
Boom. So many words of wisdoms here from JK Molina. You can find him at tweetsandclients.com. Listen, we're giving you all these tactics. You got to put them together. You go to tweetsandclients.com. Start monetizing your Twitter audience at tweetsandclients.com. JK, before we get into the world famous rapid fire section, where's the best place for us to find you?
Yeah, dude, this is one of my favorite podcasts I've been in. This is fucking awesome, by the way. This is great. But you can find me it's awesome. Follow Mark Savan as well. Great. You can see me hanging out with him someday. We gotta go dinner together, bro.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah. If you want to find me, I'm at 1JK Molina on Twitter. That's at ONE JK Molina. And if you want to grow your audience, I'm not your guy. But if you want to monetize your audience, welcome.
Boom. Well said. All right, cool. JK, strap in your seatbelt. We're going to the world famous rapid fire here. JK, what is the scariest movie you've ever seen?
I don't watch scary movies because I believe that opens up gates for you. And I don't want to open those gates for myself. So I haven't.
Movies get a lot scarier if you think you're opening up gates, especially if you're watching something like Insidious. So yeah, I can agree with you there. JK, if you could be any animal, what would you be?
Oh, a dragon. Dragon. I was born in the year of the dragon. Somebody told me I have dragon-shaped eyebrows, like a certain mark. So fuck yeah, I'll be a dragon.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not a bad way to go. Game of Thrones, underrated, overrated?
I haven't watched it. I'll say, I'm sorry, bro, but I'll say Breaking Bad, underrated. I love Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, Breaking Bad. Better Call Saul, also great spinoff. Really, really good. Okay, cool. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would you live?
Guatemala. I would live actually in Poland because I love Poland if it were an Eastern time zone, but the time zone fucked me up.
My wife is actually 100% Polish. I've been there several times. Why Poland? Why is Poland so exciting to you?
Korean looking dudes do very well in Poland.
Okay, doing good. Okay. But, hey, listen.
Yeah, I'm like, you told me I was direct. I can't lie now. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna be direct. That's just fucking.
It's seamless the whole way through. Positioning and differentiation, right? You got to put yourself in the right place. Yeah, cool. So let's say you're on a plane ride to Poland to find your dime piece. If you could sit next to anyone on that plane, who are you going to sit next to?
That's a good one. It's a guy named Lobo from Twitter. I love Lobo. I've learned so much from him. El Lobo Salvaje.
Final question here for you, JK. If you had 10 seconds with yourself 10 years ago, what do you say?
Don't change the plan. Just fucking stick to the plan. Stop shifting. Just stick to the plan. You'll win.
Stick to the plan, baby. JK, thanks for joining the After Hours Entrepreneur today, brother.
This was awesome, Mark. Great. Thank you for having me. See ya.
Boom. Thanks for listening to today's episode. Do you have a question, need, concern? Are you trying to make DM strategies work for you? Hit me up, mark@marksavantmedia.com. That's my email. It's direct. It's not to a computer. It's to me. Mark@marksavantmedia. Mark@marksavantmedia.com. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.